Welcome back, and let's start holding on, shall we? Ever since I was a little kid, I always liked to ponder certain questions. Why was I me? Why were other people them? Why wasn't I other people? Why weren't they me? Did the world really exist, and was everyone living it the same as I? Was the world like a movie playing in front of me, and I was a projector of a movie? If I shut myself down, would the world still exist? I knew I'd never find out the answers to those questions, because I could only find myself and not anybody else. When I'd learnt that there'd be over 7 billion people on the Earth, or that compared to the Sun, Earth was as big as a grain of sand on a beach, or the universal Sun was about as big as a grain of sand. So I didn't have the answers to those questions, therefore, ever since I was a little kid, I've always been eager to prove myself to the world. I must get the best grade on an exam, I must be the last person standing, I must be the best artist. And I must be the world's finest artist. 14 years ago, in an unusual wet winter in Italy, I'd been living in Venice at the time, preparing my first personal art show. The show's success, it would be possible for me to become one of the most highly prized artists. After weeks of preparation, I was exhausted but also excited. When my fiancée called and told me she had caught the flu, and she had to be hospitalised for a few days, I barely thought twice about it. I started to get some rest, thinking that I would make it up to her with a huge surprise as soon as I got back home. I can imagine the crumbled, ruined world would be waiting me. VIRS. When the entire country was on board with a devastating fight against the virus, gasping for breath, I was laughing with living in my own space, completely isolated from the tragedy. Variant infectious respiratory syndrome. When did this game come out? Seriously, when? Well, Wonderful World. October 2018. Is a deadly respiratory disease caused by a new coronavirus. The disease can cause death in a few weeks because of various serious complications. The virus could spread and multiply rapidly due to its airborne nature, and most is activated during later winter to early spring. The epidemic first occurred in East and Southeast Asia and soon spread across the world in less than 6 months. The total count of infections reached over 20,000. Is VIRS actually a real thing? No idea, but if it isn't, this is bloody pathetic. Although it's seriously underestimated the total number of infections. They were eventually able to limit the deaths to less than 1,800. When my bubble finally burst, I realised that everything I'd ever chased meant nothing anymore. I was nothing but a selfish coward. I kept painting, but only because I had no idea what else I could possibly do. 10 years later, when I've been diagnosed with stomach cancer. Karma. Didn't want to, nor did I deserve to cause anyone any more trouble. So I had surgery alone and left China with barely any luggage. The world was so big I wanted to go see it before the end. The Amazon jungle, Antarctica, Middle East. I suffered from hunger and cold. I'd even been hit by a bullet. When I finally thrown away all my nonsense and started truly appreciating the world for what it was, I began to realise that this world and the lives in it were also so magnificent and so real. Now 3 years had gone by and I've been feeling pretty great when I went to the doctor for another checkup. The doctor said I was in remission. The cancer was under control. He said my positive and relaxed attitude could be very helpful for treatment. Before I left, he told me to keep living life and treasure it like I'd be given a second chance. After I left the hospital, I had a sudden urge to go see a person who I'd often been thinking about. But I couldn't allow myself to do that. I could only hope that she was having a happy and good life. I settled down in Hong Kong and rented a small studio. Been teaching little kids drawing. I wasn't well paid, I was enjoying myself. Occasionally there would be a few people to visit my studio. They told me they wanted to purchase some pieces. Well, my paintings were records of most unforgettable people and events in my life. How could I possibly sell them? God, I always loved toying with me. Just when I was getting used to it, it was shaken upside down again, literally this time. A severe earthquake hit the island of Hong Kong without any warning. When it came to, I'd been buried under debris. My right hand was pinned under a big piece of concrete. I assumed the bones had probably been broken. A day had gone by, I hadn't had anything to drink since the day started. A day had gone by. I thought I'd heard someone yelling something. A day had gone by. The darkness had swallowed me. I had gone 3 days without water. My body was severely dehydrated, and I couldn't even urinate. I thought I heard someone calling my name for the past 2 days. I must have started hallucinating. Things couldn't get worse. With my right hand underneath the concrete, I still couldn't feel anything. I made a decision. 1, 2, 3, 4. I picked a rock in my left hand and smashed it against my right wrist until I started bleeding. I sucked in my own blood, trying not to waste a single drop. Perhaps it was all an illusion, but I felt a little more energy through my body. Yet my decision did not seem to pay off. I know a few days had gone by, my right hand barely looked like a hand anymore. But there's still no sign of rescue. I wanted to live. So the third day is we haven't had anything to drink. I'd gone so long without water, my body was seriously dehydrated. Had to drink my own urine, hoping to survive. Even though I had been submerged in the darkness, I could still sense every sunrise and sunset. Whenever the sun went down, a nice chill would surround me. Perhaps something near my left hand seemed to be a piece of paper hanging out of a bag. It was one of her paintings, but a painting in front of my nose. I started to see the vague shapes of a painting. It was a quick sketch from my teaching days in Beijing. It wasn't really a piece of art. The subject of her painting was a girl. She was holding a pencil and drawing. Her face was tightened up and thinking about her strokes. She was actually drawing me, and not very well, by the way. She carried a sketch of me wherever I went. I'd take it out and look at it when I was resting. I'd wondered if she would draw another one, but eventually decided not to. The sketch, even the paper itself, was one of my most precious memories. I wanted to live. Let's go 2 days without water. Okay, 2 days without water and yelling. This should be it, I think. Body there, please respond. This voice. I would never forget this voice, ever. I must have started hallucinating. Mine went back to teaching 3 years ago. The girl had chosen to be my assistant just because I wanted to go home early. She was yelling my name. She was angry at me that I had torn up a friend's sketch. She did not know that I already met the night before. If a person could still live in his own memory after death, I wish I could return to that moment and freeze time. But I would look at her, nothing but look at her until the end of time. A small pebble fell down on my head. I opened my eyes. The light coming through a crack blinded me, as I had the same light for so long. The crack was becoming bigger and bigger until my face was completely exposed by the sunlight. I could see the person who was closest to my heart, but only their silhouette. Still, it looked incredibly like her. But how could it be possible? The silhouette stopped moving. It seemed to be hesitating. How? You can hear me? Can you move your hand? It sounded like her. Even though I knew it couldn't possibly be her, I still teared up, unable to control myself. I struggled to raise my left hand. She reached out with her hand. Don't let go. Hold on. Keep your eyes on me. Hold on. Keep your eyes on me. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm so scared. Don't be scared. I will never leave you alone, ever. Don't be scared. I will never leave you alone, ever. I held onto her hand as tightly as I could, with all the strength I had left. Even if it was just an illusion, I would never let her go again. I'm sorry, I have broken my word. Last 3 years I'd thought what I'd say to her if I ever got to meet her again. So many times in my head I'd practiced all various scenarios I could think of. In the end, all I was able to mutter was a weird sorry. She didn't respond, but I could feel her shaking. I took a deep breath. Could you give me another chance to love you? 1 year later, a new piece of mine was on display at Beijing Exhibition Centre. I named this piece The Sun. A lot of people asked me, wouldn't Sunrise be a more appropriate title? I'd always respond with a smile. Yes, to the others, this piece was about sunrise. To me, it was about the most important thing in my life. It was the sun. But not the sun. I glanced at a girl to my right who was staring at the painting quietly. Put my arm around her shoulder. It started snowing outside the centre. The pedestrians all stopped marvelled at the scene. No one had ever seen snowing in the middle of summer. Yet the snow kept getting heavier. The sun was still shining behind me with the sky. My eyes squinted in a bright glare, and I held onto her hand even tighter. We both smiled. God had really blessed me. I'm not sure what that one is, but you know what, I don't care, I got the S one there. Oh, and guys, let's have a quick check. That was... we got 1 star missing there. Okay, next time I'm going to change regret to an S. Interesting. You literally change their profiles by doing that. I'm going to do Lee Wen's next episode, so thanks for watching guys, have a wonderful day and bye bye.